Okay, I think we're live now.
Oh yeah, I definitely.
Woo!
Oh yeah, me and my wife definitely love doing that. Oh, we're live. Oh crap! Oh crap! I'm just making fun of the news because there was a blooper. I remember seeing that was a news blooper, and there was this funny thing where these two news anchors are having a private conversation. They're talking about their personal lives, and then the guy off camera's like, "Guys, we're live." They're like, "What? We're live?" Yeah.
You always have to be prepared. I'm
Yep.
trying to find.
Well, I was trying to be prepared. I got on here over 10 minutes early, and I was getting everything up, and I was just about to invite everyone, and it blue screened.
Blue
But
screen.
I'm trying to find. Where is it? Dang it. A friend of mine actually, Chris Moore, was called Rowdy C. He actually did a huge review about of JFK, and he tore into it. And he's like, by the way, we were talking about the JFK assassination, all the conspiracy buffs and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Got
people.
our
And
little pre-show thing.
yeah,
Because we talked on the last Pagosity about a scientific analysis of conspiracies, and they found out that, I mean, they even quantify this and everything. The more people that have to be involved in a conspiracy, the quicker the whole thing's just going to unravel. And
Oh yeah.
like
Same thing with the moon landing.
yeah,
That's the biggest thing with the moon landing. The biggest thing that completely destroys the moon landing, if it truly was a hoax, then anyone with scientific equipment could disprove it. Then how come the Soviet Union didn't call it out?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You start off having to get NASA
Yeah.
behind it, and then all of the people who partnered with NASA, and then the Soviet Union, and then
Yeah.
everyone at NASA since then in an
Yeah.
unbroken chain, and all the independent people who are
Yeah.
still like reflecting lasers off the equipment on the moon. All of those people, and it's just hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of people who would have to be in on it. There's no way.
Yeah.
that's true.
Here's a good example. Bigfoot was a conspiracy. That famous, Bigfoot video, it was all a hoax. And how did we find out? Because the guy playing the Bigfoot, confessed, and that was only a scheme conducted by 3 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact about the whole, Loch Ness monster stuff, which people are still looking to this very day.
Yeah. The funny thing is that if you actually go down to Loch Ness, almost none of the natives really believe in it. They just mark it off of it because it attracts tourists. Yeah.
I
Now,
still
I
remember that.
invite my circles here. I'm trying to invite the other co-hosts and the patrons,
Yeah.
and it's only letting me type in individual names. It's not letting me put in
Yeah.
my circle.
Yeah, I think Travis will be joining us soon. And I think Jacob's gonna be late. We tried to get we tried to get Lord T Hawkeye on, but apparently he's D&Ding tonight.
Yeah, if we could have done it last night, we could have gotten him, but I wouldn't have been able to do it last night.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
My daughter to the hospital and the whole day.
Oh yeah, that's right. She had that cyst or something.
Yeah, she's fine. It's nothing. It's benign.
Yeah.
But it took up the whole day. And then
Yeah.
Belle was out of school today because she was running a temperature. I'm really tired.
It's so crazy, Well,
Yeah.
anyway, it's funny because we're here on YouTube, and there's been recently some interesting YouTube drama, which it seems like it's always
The
going to be.
DMCA and a lot of people aren't being able to profit off their videos now.
Which is funny because I actually got into conversation with a very interesting fellow on, saying,
Yeah.
I think I have still the pictures, about the debate we had, and it says, quote, and I remember he was like, man, he just gave a dictionary definition about what a review is, and said a forum post saying that what was like that guy with glasses, Doug Walker, that what Doug Walker does is riffs. And this is dictionary edition what review is, and this is what the guys do it. So that's the real thing. If they just did that, they'd be fine and legal. And I'm like, no, that's criticism. That's fair use. He said, and his response is, well,
fair use counts for parody, which includes rifting. So.
Yeah, and I'm like, how
And
does this make any sense?
well into that whole Richard Dawkins controversy where he shared a video that parodied a feminist, and they were like, well, that's offensive. The whole point of a parody is it's offensive to the target. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, and honestly, I continue to show all these facts. Like, for example, I showed, I think, and in fact, I got some people who agree with me on this. Like, I showed, like, your video, like, the DMCA thing about what's like 2008. And I showed Laura Hawkeye's video about copyright law. And some people say that makes some good points and such. But this other person just said, no, this, that, the other. He would not listen. He would not. And I even pointed out the DMCA stuff of the EFF, the Electronic Freedom Foundation, and talk all about how bad DMCA was.
Frontier Foundation.
And he says, yeah,
Electronic Frontier Foundation.
Yeah. I showed the links about the DMCA. See, all this stuff, and he says, well, this, that, and the other. I felt like you talking like status, Shane. I was like, I try, and I'm just like, you know what? You can only talk to people so long. And I said, okay. Right.
As you pointed out.
Yeah.
Oh, we're tired of it. Is for anyone who's listening, because the fear is that if we ignored them, some innocent person who doesn't know any better is going to come on. They're going to hear the guy and they might take it at face value. So for any of you statists out there that are closed-minded, we're not doing this because we're trying to convince you. We're doing this so people don't fall for your bogus.
And that's the same thing with the anti-vaxxers and everyone else.
Speaking of vaccines, I got 2 vaccines yesterday, so now I have super autism.
Now you got what you got.
I got.
Any tetanus bacteria tries to come around your hood is getting smacked down.
I can still feel it in my left arm. It's a lot better. It's a lot better now. But when I woke up this morning, like my arm was really stiff and I had to move it around. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Tdap, the tetanus, is live attenuated, and the diphtheria and pertussis are, diphtheria is inert and pertussis is acellular, I think. So the tetanus is the only one that's actually alive, and that's the one that's doing it. Basically, your shoulder has a very minor case of lockdown.
Yeah, I know. It's like because that's what they do. That's what they do with like vaccines. The disease you're being vaccinated for is either alive but castrated, or it's kind of sort of dead. In a way.
Well, generally, the way to do it is you have your virus or your bacteria or whatever it is, and you put it into a chicken egg. And it goes, wait a minute, this isn't my nice, tasty human. It's a chicken egg. I'm not sure how to do that. But then it has babies, and the babies have babies, and so on. Yep. And just chance mutations, it evolves to adapt itself to a chicken egg, and in the process, it disadapts itself to a human. Yeah. So it goes back into a human and says, wait a minute, this isn't my nice, juicy, yummy chicken egg. I don't know how to deal with this.
Yep. Yeah, speaking of which, I was reading the book Who Goes There, which was the book that inspired the movie The Thing by John Carpenter, and there's actually a really interesting scene when they're discussing should they open up the alien, and one guy's afraid, well, if we open up the alien, we might release an extraterrestrial bacteria or virus that's going to go around and kill everyone, and one scientist actually brings up a pretty good point, but let's think about it. If this alien does have bacteria and viruses, which it probably does, think of it. It doesn't know what a human being is. When it gets into the human being, it's going to wander around, saying, what kind of being is this? I don't know what this is. And by the time it figures out, the genetic code for human, our immune system's on it.
Well, if it's an alien virus, like from another planet or something like that, it wouldn't be able to do it at all because the chemistry wouldn't be right.
Yep.
True.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because I was talking to my friend about stuff like this, and I tell people this all the time. The dumbest thing I hate about when I see like those post-apocalyptic movies is whenever it's a plague that causes mass extinction, because I've met plenty of scientists that have said nowhere in the history has a plague ever wiped out a species, on a global level. Yeah, in small, isolated areas it does, but the thing is, if there's a super virus that kills off anyone who touches it, it's very contagious and it has a 100% mortality rate, it's going to snuff itself out eventually.
Yeah, and if it's really bad like Ebola, that's just terrible. You're so sick, you don't move anywhere, and then you die. It's kind of hard for it to get spread around.
Yeah,
so that's why.
Yeah, people say, but it will remain dormant and it'll spread. It doesn't work like that, people. I mean, because here's the thing, and this goes back to evolution, is that evolution doesn't permit things like that because because contrary to popular belief in evolution, it is possible to be too successful. If you're an apex predator and you're going around killing everything and nothing can stop you, you're gonna run out of food eventually.
Yep. And then you're poof, gone.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's good to be an apex predator, but you don't want to be too successful.
Kind of
There's
like
actually-
the dinosaurs or stuff like that.
That's actually a theory. The theory about dinosaurs, about what they went extinct, wasn't the meteor really. It was just that they were too successful. You know, they had few, predators other than themselves. They probably didn't have a whole lot of disease to worry about, and the result is that they just snuffed out all their food, and eventually the animals that remained behind were too small to really benefit them, and they just gradually died out by then.
I think that's kind of a fringe theory, though.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly the asteroid and the changing climate.
Yeah, many scientists think that it was a very big combination of a lot of things. Here's
They were on the decline for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah, one of the biggest misconceptions is that the asteroid is what did it all, and after the asteroid hit, all the dinosaurs died out. Actually, there's evidence that shows that a few species did survive. Like a million years or so after the asteroid hit, but they were the very last of their kind.
Well, and the birds.
Yeah.
Alligators, man. They haven't evolved.
Non-avian dinosaurs. Hey there.
Sup, shit lords?
It's the Trigger Man.
Yeah.
Bang, bang.
I figured I'd show up.
Yeah, that Trigger Man. He battles safe spaces and over emotional people.
Well,
Speaking of over emotional, when I really laughed at Idiot Extraordinaire for last week's Bogosity because that Sydney government, it sounds more like an overprotective mother than a government,
It's just Puritanism, that's all it is.
Yeah. What are they gonna... Yeah, just imagine it. The government's telling its citizens in Sydney, okay, when you go out, you are not going to drink, and you are gonna be in bed by 1 a.m., mister, or you're in big trouble.
And you have to have it in the right kind of cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
God help these governments if they ever had me in the goddamn hall when they were having these debates.
Yeah.
Or you have these the Michigan government, state government, which this whole water crisis, this entire thing, this should be the main issue. But what law or bill they pass is that you can't have oral or anal sex anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, many states have had that for a while. There was actually, because I was reading about it in law school, there actually was a funny incident where, because I think at the time New York had an same-sex sodomy law, and what happened was that two gay lovers were deciding to make love. One of their neighbors heard, he thought someone was getting murdered, so they sent in a SWAT team, and the SWAT team busted in, and instead of seeing someone getting murdered, they saw two gay guys going at it. That would have to be silly.
Oh, this was the problem with sodomy laws, because if there was like a marital spat, then the wife could just go to the police and tell them that she gave her husband a blowjob, and they'd go and arrest him.
Oh, yeah.
15 years. 15 years in jail.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Let's be real here. We know the real reason that there's anti-sodomy laws in Michigan is because they don't want people to be reminded of the fact that the water is liquid shit by sticking their dick in butts.
Yeah.
But it's
too much butt stuff already.
I mean, it's pretty funny because there's feminists that are advocating that a woman should have the right to decline, like a rape kit and all that,
What?
Yeah,
No,
some feminists are saying that. They say a woman should not be, if a woman comes up and says, I've been raped, normally the standard procedure is, okay, we'll do a rape kit and, check, your body for signs of rape, but they're saying, but that violates a woman's privacy.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to get a rape kit done, I guess you don't have to, but then don't complain when the police says, well, there's no evidence.
Yeah. I'm going to make fun of that in my comic strip where a woman's filing a charge against a police officer and they asked them, well, what charge is this police officer doing? Well, you see, I went to the officer to tell him my boyfriend raped me, and what did he do? He asked me if I had any proof for it.
Oh, how horrible.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you actually had to provide proof that you were a victim? I mean, seriously, convicted murderers get better treatment than, convicted rapists.
Whoa. Come on, Chris, come on. You have to listen and believe.
Yeah.
By the way, somebody let them on Skype know that we actually are in the broadcast now, because I guess Travis was a little confused.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it is. It's this whole listen and believe. It's what's going. I mean, I don't understand this, and I don't know how this started. It just seemed to start way in the '90s. This whole political correctness stuff.
Well, a lot of it had to do with the fact that you had parents who were basically giving all the kids participation trophies and teaching kids.
Oh yeah.
Everyone is special. Everyone is a unique, delicate snowflake.
That's what they
And
took-
then
that's
when
what they-
and then when they grew up, they took that to heart, and now everyone is a unique, delicate snowflake that needs the preferential treatment.
yeah,
Oh,
they did that.
gosh.
They did that.
Life
They-
lessons. One of the best life lessons you can ever learn is how to lose. And you're not going to
Yes.
do that with participation trophies. And
Yeah.
if you look around what's
Yeah.
going on
Yeah.
all these college
Actually,
campuses,
going back
Not
to
even
these are people.
not
who
even
do
just
not know-
how to lose.
These are
Not
people
even just how to.
who don't know
Go
how
ahead.
lose. And if
Yeah.
you don't know how to lose, you don't know what it means to win.
yeah, actually, Shane, going
And
back
not
to
even just
that
not
reminds
even
me of
just
this,
how to
Star Trek
lose.
movie where there's this test. I forgot the name of the test, but basically the test
The
is that
Kobayashi Maru.
Maru.
you have to go. Well, this will be for the audience members. You have to. The simulation is that you have to rescue a ship, but then you get ambushed by Klingons and you get killed. And people always fail it, and they say, "Why do we fail it? I'm a good commander." And then they tell them because it's rigged, so you can't win. And they say, "Well, why? Because we want to test to see how you handle defeat."
Yep. It's
All right.
a-
Before we get bombarded with more Star Trek, let me make this goddamn point.
Okay.
But the point I'm trying to say is, not only do you have to teach kids that how to lose, you got to teach them that it's okay to lose every now and then. Because remember, before that, it was don't lose or the family looks like shit.
Yeah.
Now it's nobody's a loser.
Yeah.
So they have to understand that sometimes in life you lose, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person, but sometimes in life you just don't win.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a DC sports fan, so I learned that constantly.
Oh yeah. There's this funny.
But, yeah.
Funny
The
saying.
Panthers learned it Sunday.
Hey, I ain't fucking rooted for the Broncos, so I'm happy. The way I see it, if I couldn't get Eli Manning in the Super Bowl, I'll take Peyton.
I'm like Grumpy Cat. I wanted both teams to lose.
Yeah, but you hate football, so I mean, you would have been happy if a meteorite crashed into the stadium.
Oh, I would have tuned in for that. Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, sports. Some people go crazy over them.
Oh, sports ball.
Yeah, it's for her.
I don't have any problem with people who go crazy over sports. I have a problem with people who do the exact same thing over whether you're Democrat or Republican. That's
Yeah.
entirely different.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. They
Different
their
tribes, it's all the whole thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
the way I see sports is it's another hobby just like anything else.
Yeah, I'm not against.
But there is a limit to where that kind of thinking is acceptable, and in politics, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, and there's also
Yeah.
a point where
And I have to.
there's also a point where
yeah.
it's bred in circuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I'm so
Here's what I say
happy
about the
was
bread
so-
and circuses.
Well, read up on the cherry teams. What were they? The green and the blue or something like that? Those were the colors of the two. And I think it was Tacitus who wrote this whole thing about how it was all green versus blue and families were torn apart by green versus blue and everything like that. It was all about chariot racing.
Mm.
Hey,
Yeah,
listen.
but you know,
my best friend in the world, Matt, who is my partner at Superplex Bros, we have a brotherhood that can't be fucking broken. But the minute we talk about football, we are at each other's goddamn throats. So it's gonna happen.
but you know, I want to say, man, I am happy I was raised by some really smart parents and such who allowed us to play these games and stuff. And I learned how to win, but also learned how to lose and lose gracefully, which is something that is not really taught.
Well,
to,
and also learning
kids.
the value in losing.
Yeah, and knowing what the steps to do to correct yourself.
Well,
And
again, it's okay to lose every now and then because it's based on what you learn from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. You have to lose to, well...
Now, if you lose all the time, then you're a... No, I'm just kidding. But
If you're losing all the time, you probably need to. If you're losing all the time, you probably need to take a look at your mirror and say, "Okay, what the heck is wrong with me?"
Or you're just Charlie Brown, who just,
Well, listen, my dad...
the comic is rigged so Charlie Brown's gonna lose, you know.
Listen, sometimes you just got to take the hit.
Throw the football away.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
So-
mean, Charles Schultz actually, if I recall correctly, you know, one of the, you know, after he was done with Charlie Brown, like, he still lived, you know, I think for like a few more weeks, and he did say one of his biggest regrets, you know, like a few days before he died was, you know, looking back now, I probably should have made the final comic where Charlie Brown kicks the ball. He actually was crying, saying because he never could get that football. You know.
Well, sometimes people need to learn when something's just not for them, or take the signals, especially parents with their kids. You want to know when the signal was for my parents when they tried to get me to play baseball? The signal was me sitting in the outfield, not fucking playing.
Oh yeah, you were sent. You were sent to right. Let me guess, you were sent to right field.
Oh yeah.
My dad was going to take me rabbit hunting. And he said, "Oh, you want to go rabbit hunting?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go hunt the rabbits." I don't even know how old I was, so yeah, we start getting ready, and he gets his shotgun out, and I'm like, "What's that for?" And he said,
Blow the fucking rabbit's brains out.
I said, "I didn't know we were gonna kill the rabbit. I thought we love it." And Dad put the gun back up on the rack and never went hunting again.
Yeah. Little Shane, what did you think we were gonna do? You think I was gonna put my gun and then the rabbit was gonna put a carrot with it and it was gonna explode and leave my face covered with ash?
Now listen, I'm not exactly a hunter, but if I'm fucking starving, you can call me Ted Nugent, because I'll kill the goddamn forest.
Poor bugs, which, you know.
Not only will I kill the damn forest, but you'll be hearing the entire album of Cat Scratch Fever while it's happening.
People are way too mean to Ted Nugent, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, he's kind of wacko.
He's insane.
But, you know,
he's insane, but he's entertaining.
He ain't hurting anyone. He's hunting animals on his own land. That's his own damn business. Yeah.
Listen, if Trump gets the nomination, Ted Nugent better be his fucking running mate.
Yeah.
I say, you know what? Let's go.
That might be worth it. That might be worth it.
Yeah.
Go full crazy.
Yes.
I just like the innovation of capitalism, where we can get meat by going to a store where it's already been prepackaged for us, and we can live in complete denial that it was ever a living, breathing being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And except for, you know, these people from these the social justice war, which, by the way, have you looked at the Rubin report? Sargon of Akkad was on there. He did some really good interview with him.
I linked to that in the Skype chat.
Yeah, it was really good, and he broke it down that these people, you know, they're regressives. That's what they're not progressives. They're regressives. They put people in these like little camps.
Here's Travis.
There's our puppy dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awkward.
I don't have any dog treats for you, Travis. Sorry.
And you know, but you know,
Wise
it's with his nice pajama shirt on.
Travis, you just missed the best discussion ever. We were talking about how Ted Nugent needs to run with Donald Trump.
Oh God.
Trump.
And it's such a shame too, because me, Jim, and Evan are apparently in like a different chat. I guess I don't know if we got a wrong link or something. It's weird, but we're all wondering, hey, where the heck is Shane and them? And
I was there earlier.
In the co-host discussion, and it's like, oh crap! I think we were in the wrong hangout or something. Awkward.
I can't even invite people. I mean, I usually I can hit invite and I can type in my co-host circle and my patron circle, and it's not working.
It's Google. Just blame Google.
Let's blame drugs.
Yeah. Blame capitalism.
But, you know,
That's what my Norwegian friend does. Every time something bad happens to him, like if he finds out like a computer game's not working for him, he blames it on capitalism.
Oh, jeez Louise, capitalism, the most evil. And, you know, it's funny because the people who always talk about the communism and all this stuff, they never lived it. It's, you know, again, the people who always prop it up, it's like they never lived under these oppressive regimes.
There's only three types of people that support communism: dumb hippies who have never lived through it, politicians who got all these benefits from it and they don't want to lose their benefits, or three, and that's citizens who live under communism but they're brainwashed into pretty much thinking communism's the way to go. Good example being North Korea. You know, everyone likes to say, well, why should we criticize the North Koreans? They seem to like communism. Yeah, but it's like they don't. That's because they don't know anything better. You know.
They shut them things down. They have closed the entire.
Yeah, they are told right from the womb that the Kim Jong family or whatever are literally gods on Earth, and that they're the only thing that's keeping them. I mean, the North Koreans think that the rest of the world is this Fallout style wasteland, and that North Korea is the only civilization left.
You know what?
And hello,
We're gonna have to
like
the roads and stuff are.
too, so hopefully that's good.
So what's this talk I've been hearing about, like, with Trump and what's his face?
Ted
Running
fucking
together or something?
Nugent?
We didn't want Ted Nugent to be Trump's running mate. That's what we decided.
Yeah, if Trump is going to get... Yeah, I agree. If Trump is going to get the
Listen.
president nomination, at the very least, he should get Ted Nugent to be his running mate, because at least it would be somewhat amusing.
Listen,
Trump Nugent 2016. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Listen, just picture Trump's opening address. You have Ted Nugent on the stage with a fucking guitar playing Stranglehold while Trump is just giving the speech. And just,
I still have this theory. I still have this theory he's gonna select Gene Simmons for some reason.
Oh my god.
well, I don't want to make any jokes, but he'd find a way to make money off the wall.
Out of shape.
Yeah.
All out of shape.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, some use... Yeah,
No,
then again...
wait, that's Richard Simmons, not Gene Simmons.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got my Simmonses confused.
Yeah, Gene is the one from Kiss.
Yeah.
Oh, god.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy...
No, you know what? Gene Simmons, as the vice president of Donald Trump's regime, would have Kiss all over the damned wall.
Yeah.
And the only way to get legal immigrant status would be to buy Kiss merchandise.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I mean,
or,
you wouldn't have to.
or imagine North Korea launches a hydrogen bomb at us, and then Kiss is like they're saying, well, there is one way we can disable the missile. What's that? I'll have to take this guitar and I'll have to stroke it at just the right tune. That'll mess up the detonator and kill the missile without actually setting it off. Okay, Simmons, do it. Ding! It worked!
You have to play a particular guitar riff to abort.
Well, I mean, at least one thing we know is if Gene Simmons was the vice president, he'd probably run the country like he runs his music, very mediocre.
although to be fair, Kiss was never meant. They stated right from the very beginning it wasn't a band to be taken seriously. Yeah.
And Evan is somewhere
Let's have
out
it there
there
that
in
we
the sun.
have Donald Trump running with that one guy from Nickelback. Because if we're gonna have the odds of starting a war, we might as well make it 100%. Boosh.
Kroger? No.
I still say Nugent Trump. If you're just going to go full crazy, you may as well just go all the way.
Yeah,
He's
and
definitely
one
going
of
to pull
our
somebody from the entertainment industry. That much I'm certain of.
yeah. And by the way, Evan,
just the idea of Vice President Ted Nugent just makes me laugh my ass off.
Yeah.
I would vote for
By the
Ted
way,
Nugent. I don't care what his policies are. I would vote for him.
Yeah, but by the way, I love Evans just having a jog out there in this nice sun and the blue skies, man.
It's not that nice. I don't know if you can see it that well. It's a wee bit overcast, but it's not scorching hot, which is nice.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
it's a lot better here.
Oh my god.
Don't mind me. I'm just in -1,000 in the middle of Siberia. I mean, Connecticut.
I think unless
Yeah, I'd much rather be there, personally. I'm more of a creature of cold weather.
12 Fahrenheit.
Evan? Is that where you are?
12 Celsius would feel good right about now.
He's not
Oh, it's
over
right,
there.
oh, it's
What was
right
the
and sunny
question?
where you are, Evan.
I am in the bunker of Mother
I
Russia.
must say, it's a wee bit overcast.
Overcast, but it looks nice. But then again, you know, I don't mind the winter. I'm unlike Dave. I you know what? The cold never bothered me anyway.
Listen, cold don't bother me.
I don't hate winter either.
Cold don't fucking bother me. It's snow, and I used to love snow as a kid, but as an adult, it's fucking work. Work I don't want to do.
I still
love it.
Second.
I
The only
hate
one,
freezing rain. The freezing rain can bite my shiny metal ass.
Well, yeah, because that's ice, and ice is worse. But I mean,
Well,
I want summer back.
I want spring.
Just
Not.
anywhere between 85 and 95, a nice high pressure system. Keep it that way, I'm good.
No, yeah, I got mixed feelings about spring because on one hand it's warm, but on the other hand, that's when my allergies come out, and that's when the yellow jackets come back.
Actually, it's funny enough.
I'm no fan of spring because it means tornadoes, and the town about just a few miles from me got hit by 2 tornadoes in the last 2 years.
It's funny.
They touched down like 2 miles from my house too. So
actually, it's funny. I have a very love-hate relationship with the fall as well. Like, I love the scenery of fall. I love the atmosphere. I love the holidays. I love all that. But goddamn, I hate the weather because we don't have weather here in New England for fall. We have malaria. It's hot. It's cold. It's hot. It's cold.
Holy crap!
It's awful. It's awful. I mean, New England's like that all year round. Within one day, we could go from 70 degrees to 2. But, hey, New England weather sucks.
Yeah, but personally, you know what the best part of snow, by the way, is that the aftermath it's quiet. You go out walking and there's no sound, barely any sound. You just walk around.
Bullshit. Maybe where you live, not here.
No, yeah, after the first powder of snow, you walk around, it's quiet. And there's a nice gray sky.
Listen, where we are, we're so used to this shit. Once snow is done, everybody is outside fucking working their asses off. You would think it was like the North Korean mines. Just fucking, we must dig the snow! Dig the snow for glorious leader!
Yeah.
But
snow
hey,
for great
it's
justice.
just...
Yeah, dig snow.
Someone set up us the blizzard.
I'm fine.
I could go for a blizzard right now from Dairy Queen. That's about it. That's about the only blizzard I want.
You know what? We are 50% below what our normal level of snow is here in the Chicago area. We have had like no snow. It's been pretty much all rain all
You live
winter.
in Chicago?
I mean,
near Chicago.
Yeah, I've been to Illinois. I'm sorry, but Illinois, that is just the most boring state to go to. It's flat. Yeah, well, as one person
clearly, you haven't been to Wyoming.
Our southern part of Illinois is awesome. It's like mountains down there.
Yeah, there's two.
Clearly,
he said there's only 2 things to do in Illinois: corn and Chicago.
Chris, clearly you've never been to Wyoming.
I love
you
Wyoming.
Clearly have never been to Wyoming because there's about a population of 5 people and one of them is a cat.
So it's like Canada.
Or New Mexico.
Wyoming, and I would move there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, New Mexico is also pretty desolate too. Although it at least has some good scenery. Yeah.
Love New Mexico. I want to move to. I would love to move to Arizona. First of all, my mom's out there. Secondly, I don't like the heat, but hey, if I'm in Phoenix, it's only an hour and a half, 2-hour drive to Flagstaff. I can be in the mountains.
Actually, my comic strip, I actually plan to make fun of Detroit. You know, where they're entering Detroit, and there's a sign outside of Detroit that says "Welcome to Detroit." Yes, people still live here.
That's been a running gag since the 80s.
No, it's funny. There was a
actually, ever since the energy prices, Detroit's kind of been declining. Yeah.
For a while, there was, and it was set up, I forget the name of the TV show, it had Claude Akins in it, but it was filmed in Charlotte, and for part of the TV, they had a sign set up.
The Adventures of Sheriff Lobo.
Will the last person leaving Charlotte please turn out the lights? Stayed up there, but it stayed up a while.
That's usually the joke Australians make about us.
It's hard to tell, Shane, but why do you have what looks like a sock in a pot in the background to your left?
The show was The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo.
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah, Lobo, of course, yeah.
All right, guys. I hate to run, but my battery on my phone is dying, and I gotta go put that shit on the charger.
Okay, see you, Dave.
Man. See you, Dave, and here's hoping I can hear more of like your Yeti stuff, man. Your Yeti mic and everything.
Oh yeah, my fucking Yeti mic is amazing. Peace.
Peace out.
It actually sounds really good for the price.
Well, I got my. You know what? Let me indulge.
I need a new microphone for mine though, because I hate the way my voice sounds over the internet.
Oh, if you want to know what my setup is.
Not to offend anyone, but the way I hear my voice is that my voice sounds like a girl who's undergoing hormone therapy to become a guy.
No,
And her voice is still feminine, but it's a little deep.
This is true. Every time I talk to a stranger on the phone, or go up to one of the drive-thrus to order something, they always call me ma'am. The thing is, when I get sick, my voice gets low. So if they ever call me sir, I'm like, oh, I think I might be getting sick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My roommate, he likes your voice. He thinks you should be in a commercial.
Oh, radio. I think your voice is good, but if y'all indulge me, this is my setup, by the way. See how the Yeti done.
Oh, it's so neat and tidy and clean.
Looks like my room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, to some people with certain types of certain forms of obsessive compulsive disorder, that is clean.
You see, have like you see this right here. I have like wires. So no, just to wire, just to keep the whole thing.
It's funny because South Park, did an episode about hoarders, and there was a commentary by Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and they were like, I don't get it. Why do they just pick that shit up and not get rid of it? And I just wanted to tell them, well, because it doesn't work that way. They have a mental disorder. If you clean it up within a week, it's going to look the same way again.
Mine is just the electrical tape. That's how I put mine on. But that's the thing about it. It's not just the microphone. You say, oh, okay, I can get the microphone for $50, but then you got to get the pop filter, you got to get the shock mounts, you got to get the arm, and then that adds another.
By the way, the newer newer thing here, the newer professional recording microphone stand, and seriously, I got this joint for $20. I was like, wow, this is really good, and I couldn't find anything else. To hold the blue snowball ice, because all the other stuff I see and hear is like people's is that people using this, which I put like the second thing here just in case of like a backup, like a regular mic here, stuff like that, or they have like these like weird stand-up cup things, and they don't have a pop filter, they just have like this and everything. I'm like, it is like, wow. I feel like a little like more professional and such instead of for my little podcast and videos and such, which finally I got my latest review out. Finally, took me over all these stuff like that. Which, by the way, it is never fun to edit when you're sick. It is never ever fun when you have to edit and then you have to re-edit and such because you made one little thing wrong. And because when you're like, half knocked out and half high on like a cold medicine and such, it's not fun. Goodness.
Yeah.
But a lot of people seem to like it. So, and about to have like at least an hour away to set up my little podcast thing, which is not interesting as compared to what we are talking about here, Trump and Nugent, which would be hilarious.
What is your podcast again? I must have missed it.
I talk a little video games, a little pro wrestling, which, by the way, I'm going to be talking majority.
The name of it.
The Duke CT Lounge.
Because I've actually I stopped doing my political podcast, and now I do a video gaming podcast.
I heard about that stuff. Which, by the way, and funny enough, which I am going to actually a gaming convention next week. MagFest. A lot of people seem to enjoy it. And I've actually made some business cards, actually. These things. So
yeah, see, there's mine.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You're going to a GameCom. Don't forget the 631 rule.
Going what?
631. 6 hours of sleep, 3 meals a day, and 1 shower. It's supposed to prevent con crud.
Yeah, that's something we hear from conventions too.
Me and my co-host, we do classic arcade games. In our last episode, we actually interviewed the creator of the game Xenophobe and Rampage.
Cool. I'm gonna try because I heard the creator. I think the creator of Mega Man, and Mighty Number 9. That.
Oh yeah. He's having a lot of difficulty getting Mighty Number 9 out there because Capcom just is filing all these suits against him.
No, it's I think delays.
Mm.
Let's see. Who was it again? Let's see. My number 9 creator, I think Kenji Inafume. Yes, that he's going to be at MagFest, by the way. So I'm going to see if I can get at least. I know I probably won't get a chance to interview him and such like that, but I'll leave a business card. I'll see if things go on that.
Yeah. By the way,
what's the worst thing that can happen? Yeah.
I know everyone said this already, but I just have to say this regards to video games. Fuck Konami.
Yeah, that's easy to go.
Yeah, they canceled Silent Hills for a stupid pachinko machine.
You know what? I saw a video ad the other day in a different game, and it was for Konami slots.
Yeah.
It was all. I mean, Konami.
That's another dumb decision.
Now or something? Is that?
Yeah, they're gambling machines. Yeah, and the funny thing is that I don't know if I remember reading somewhere. I can't remember where. So just take this with a grain of salt. But reportedly, one of the newer higher ups in Konami flat out admitted in an interview he hates video games and gamers. So
it's like people.
Good industry for him.
Yeah. It's just people who work in pro. Then again, you have oh gosh, what's the dude's name? Let's see. Oh, Kevin.
I'm just gonna say that's a really dumb business decision. That's like. Oh, sorry, Thomas.
But it's Kevin Dunn from WE who hates pro wrestling. Thinks he doesn't like it, but works there for 20 years because that's the only position he'll ever get in television. He wants to be a guy who does reality shows and everything else, but no one wants to get his stuff in. So he has to work the pro wrestling and such. That's type of mentality it is. That's the whole thing. So you have people who they hate their position, but there's no way else they can get a job somewhere else. So I can see that point.
But still, he's not even trying. I mean, look, if I don't like video games, but working for a video game company is the only place I can get, I'm still gonna try my damn to at least do something. I'm not gonna say, oh, fuck gamers. I'm gonna shut down our game developing team and focus on gambling machines. No, you don't do that because that's a good way to lose your money and your paycheck.
What's sad is everybody's gone to the gambling machines. Even the classic companies are doing nothing but arcade gambling machines. The guy that I was talking about who designed Rampage, they've actually designed a few casino slot machines. I mean, they're still gaming. There's a game of theirs I want to play desperately for the PC, but I can't get it to run on mine. It's called Arctic Stud Poker Run. And it's it's a poker run on snowmobiles, and you can blow up other people's vehicles and steal their cards and shit. And it just sounds awesome, but I can't get it to run.
Yeah, but it's still stupid, With Konami did it, I mean, it's like, especially the way they treated Hideo Kojima. That was low even for them,
Oh,
first they rename his company, then they remove him from the credits, then they force him to continue making a game series, which he flat out says he doesn't like doing anymore. And then to make matters worse, they won't even let him attend a gaming event, so he can receive an award he got.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that
stupid
happened.
And very moronic and such.
Yeah.
But then again, I find this is very interesting. Something really that will make y'all feel really good, something that will, I heard just from a friend of mine on Facebook says, quote, hundreds of former ISIS sex slaves have joined an all-female battalion to launch a massive assault against their abusers in Iraq. Yeah, they actually are doing it, which I can put the link in there if you want to. I'll put the link in there in the description. Here in the Skype chat, but also
there's an all-female team, going after their oppressors, huh? That sounds cool. Sounds cool. My only fear though is that they're going to end up taking it a little too far and start killing all men.
Yeah.
No.
This is the worst kind of discrimination. The kind against me.
Yeah.
True that.
But you know what?
That's what happened. That's what happened with the Bolsheviks. I mean, they claimed, oh no, we're not gonna, do anything radical. We're just gonna get, the bad people out of the government. Well, what happens when they take power? They soon start going after anyone that lifts a finger to criticize them.
Yeah, but you know what?
Well, that's what Bakunin said way back when he was criticizing Marx.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's hoping that won't happen. But here's hoping that they well, do horrible, horrible things to their former oppressors and such.
Yeah.
And yet, you don't hear any of the feminists bringing these ladies up. By the way, they're not building them up.
By the way, here's a shocking information: ISIS isn't real. It's just a bunch of kids playing ninja, and it's the U.S. government mistaking them for ISIS.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, remember that episode? That's hilarious. Yeah, they're playing ninjas, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's ISIS!
But it's funny because I don't hear any like the feminists or any of those like West feminists and everything else building these women up. They don't talk about all the horrible things in the Middle East and everything. Instead, you know what they do? They disinvite people who talk about this.
Microaggressions.
That's
oh God, the whole Richard Dawkins thing.
Yeah, Christina Hoff Sommers pointed that out. She says the biggest complaint she has with neo-feminism is that there is still oppression towards women. I mean, there's many countries in the Middle East and Africa where it's completely illegal for a woman to go out in public unless she has her husband with her. But all the feminists in America and Europe care about is, oh my God, someone said something mean about me on Twitter.
Did you see this? Somebody in Saudi Arabia created an app kind of like Waze or Trapster or whatever it's called, and it's for women so that what they do is they report the location of the morality police so that I can just avoid them.
Yeah, that's,
wow.
Yeah, I saw that. I think it was on TikTok.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's pretty funny because there was a guy who I was talking to about Saudi Arabia, and he says, the thing that really bugs me about Saudi Arabia is that they, for the most part, like, I don't know exactly what it is, they have kind of sort of a stable economic policy, but their social policy is so 9th century, it's like the way he described it is that Saudi Arabia has
Wahhabis are not your run-of-the-mill man in the street Muslims.
Yeah. Well, the way he said it is that they kind of have a free market, but only men or only Islamic men are allowed to participate in it, which isn't really a free market, but you get the idea, I
mean, this is just how things go with government,
Yeah.
If you have government say, okay, we're going to have an official religion, it's going to end up one or two ways. You'll be like Norway, where everyone's an atheist, or you're going to have, the Inquisition all over again.
Yeah,
The Inquisition. Oh, sorry.
What a show.
Yeah, the funny thing.
Baseballs, by the way, which is awesome. Yeah, it's this young lady. Yes. Was it Ayan Hisar Ali? I can't pronounce her name. She calls Islam a destructive, nihilistic cult of death, and she's not invited to most colleges anymore.
Yeah.
It's
that's just that double standard. I know you guys were talking about this and all that, but it kind of makes fun of the whole thing with Israel and all that. If you invite a guy that criticizes Israel, but doesn't really criticize Israel, like he criticized the Jews as a whole and says Judaism is a bad religion, he's invited on college campus. If you lift a finger to criticize the bad parts of the Islamic faith, you're on there. I mean, the whole situation with Israel in the Middle East, I'm kind of, I don't think the U.S. should be, like, in a military alliance with Israel, but at the same time, we shouldn't be funding, some of the groups that are in there, which some people are doing, by the way.
Yeah, most people will be more rational about that, but it's, again, when you hear this type of stuff here about people who are legitimately, in fact, I feel that this really pisses me off, is that you have these people who, this is really a patriarchy. This is really rape culture in this part of the world. And they are not only helping, they're hindering. I just don't understand the logic here.
Oh, it's even worse than that. They won't even
oh dear.
Evan, you're breaking up with us.
The real rape culture.
And he's gone.
Yeah,
we can't hear you, Evan.
Really pithy, but then his Skype package.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying, though, Shay, right?
This happened a few years ago. There was an actual case where a Norwegian tourist, she got raped. I think it was Qatar. But what happened was that when she went to the police to report it, she was arrested for having sex out of wedlock. That's actual rape culture, people. Not someone insulted you on Twitter. You know.
Yeah. It's and then you have someone like Mala Yousafzai. I mispronounced
Yeah,
it.
Nopolis.
If the feminists in our country went over to the Middle East to do whatever for ISIS or whatever, the first thing they would demand is a safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then,
Oh
and
gosh.
then they're gonna respond by pulling AKs on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's the
again,
reality we're talking about here.
It's when I see the stories about when at 14 she got shot in the head for trying to get education in her part of the world in Pakistan, and now she has to live in the United Kingdom because her life is threatened.
Yeah, this was
But
actually.
And we actually talked about that when it happened before she became this sensation, so we were right on top of that one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
well,
and I actually wrote a paper about this.
Yeah, and
actually.
this is a minor incident, but this was actually based on. I think this was based on a real life event. But there was actually a movie, where there's this little girl, who wins this spelling bee in Saudi Arabia, and she's given this big cash award, and and the government takes it away from her because she wants to spend it on a bicycle and not on religious education.
Yeah, it's to me
Yeah.
that's really is the screwed up nature is that it's to me it's sad. And then you look what happened, the assassination attempt. She stood up, even though she did because they threatened a Taliban gunman shot as she was running on the bus after taking an exam, and the thing is, and the feminists out there would actually be against her, who are this is the real stuff here, and no one is standing up for them. That's the reason why no one is.
Oh, sorry.
That's the reason why feminism in the West is going down. You have to allow movements, allow yelling, but actual recruitment of feminism, it's going down.
No, it's now the new religion of the atheist.
Yeah, and it's going down. It's like from 40% in the 1960s to I think it was like 40%. From 40% to 8% people recognize them as being like feminists. In fact, people who are former feminists is like, I'm a humanist. I mean, even Madonna's like, I'm not a feminist. I'm a humanist. I don't want to deal the toxic stuff of feminism.
Yeah, there are female heroes out there that have stood up there. That girl that 14-year-old girl that was shot. That one, I can't remember her name, but she helped that Theo guy, I think, that guy that got decapitated, that Dutch filmmaker that got decapitated and all that. And those are real feminine heroes. Brianna Wu and Caitlyn Jenner are not. Yeah. Going back to Caitlyn Jenner, the biggest problem I hate about Caitlyn Jenner, and here's the thing, it's not because I'm against transsexuals, it's because the only fame Caitlyn Jenner has is that she used to be a man and she got a sex change operation.
I love what South Park did with her this last season. Every time she was driving, she would run somebody over.
Yeah,
but
that did happen, by the way.
What really disappoints me, though, about Malala is it's like she's learning the wrong lessons. She went through all of that because she wanted an education and she was ready to, bust through any wall to get it. And now she's going around talking about the importance of compulsory education.
What?
Yeah.
So she needs to think that one through a little more. She's kind
of and that's to me disturbing. But it's amazing though when a young person sees something and just tries to make something. But in fact, I think there was a thing about the Rubin Report, and I liked it too. And before he had the conversation interview with Shaka, and it says there was this woman in Iraq, this young 23-year-old woman who was in Iraq trying to speak up for women's rights in Iraq, and she was an atheist, which basically that's a death sentence down there. And she's like, and it's something. And it came to this real good point, and it says we can't be afraid to speak, regardless of what we are, like relationships and everything else. We can't be afraid of this person, who is like, what, she's like in the middle of death, like the fireballs are coming to her. If she's going to speak up and say these things, I need to look what the name is. I don't want, because I think this, let's see. It's because by the way, the Rim Report is really good. I got like that guy T video talking about it, and I mean seriously, I've been looking at most of his videos. He is really really good, and really, I'm gonna try to, if I ever, get a big stuff like that, I'll try to buy his like interview style because he is really, like he really is letting the people breathe. It's not like on these like cable shows, which like on let's see, the cable shows. You know what I mean? They'll just like let's see, the Bill Riley's, the Rachel Maddow's and such. They do not. They're not like they don't give you like they let you have your speech. They actually do that. And everything else, which is amazing and something that is someone like you can actually has a good enough speech. Oh, it's Sarah Hadir. She's actually being an ex-Muslim in Iraq, trying to and talking about this stuff, which is what, good on her. I'm here hoping that these things and he has a lot of this stuff and a lot of people talking about this stuff, including Aran Hashi Ali. She was on there, and also Fossil Sri Almir. I can't say the names. I'm sorry. Is saying that growing up, talking about opening, closed societies, which is something that we have to do, and we have been failing. This country has been failing doing that. It's failed on opening up these countries. We use bombs and killing people and say, hey, democracy. That's how we do it. Because all we've done is make them more insular, or we just prop somebody else up, and Am I wrong? We need to do more of a peaceful way to get this up, but I feel that it's too late. I feel like it's too late to try to bring this like
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. But yeah, you know what I mean, though, right? I feel like it's a little.
You're gonna do that. Mute the mic.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little too late to really bring this together.
Just like I was saying a minute ago about Malala, it's just we've got this idea that if it's good, we should mandate it. But if you mandate it, then it very quickly stops becoming good.
Yeah. That's the thing with free markets is that if it's a good idea, people are gonna pick it up and they're gonna adapt it. I mean, that's the biggest thing I always ask status and all that. If something is such a good idea, then why do you have to enforce it?
Yep,
it's because I think people are saying, well, people are too dumb and stupid. And then I'm like, okay, if people are too dumb and stupid, why vote for people in power and such? I mean, are they? And you
that same pool of dumb
humans.
Human
beings are dumb and stupid. That's why we need to put human beings in charge of us.
And yet they say, and they're like, well, these are smart people, but yet you do realize politicians lie and they agree with you. How do you know they're not lying to you right now saying they're going to do these things?
And not to mention, even if they are truly smart, there's an old saying that goes, sometimes you can be so smart that you're stupid,
That's something that Michael Shermer likes pointing out, that smart people are good at rationalizing things that they came to believe for unsmart reasons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I, it's just, it does frustrate me. Because there's actually a dude, I'm going to probably say how at the MagFest, guy who runs the NFL, I think, is the what the fuck was wrong with you? Very funny guy, Nasbozar. He has this uncrushable hate of Uber. He hates Uber. He thinks the drivers are this, he's like the drivers are way underpaid, even though it's been proven that the drivers are actually making more money under Uber than they do in taxis. He thinks they're an evil organization. I'm like,
I know a guy who was a taxi driver and he started driving for Uber, and he told me that as a taxi driver, what you have to do is you have to pay the taxi company rent on the taxi for the time that you're out there driving, and if you don't make enough, you can actually end up in debt. And he was actually doing Uber and doing Uber rides to pay off the debt that he owed to the taxi company.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this to all taxi drivers out there. If you truly want to be a taxi driver and not an Uber driver, then tell the taxi companies to tell the government that we don't want our special protection anymore, because that's the reason people are going to Uber, because most taxis nowadays are all owned by the same company. They're protected by the government, and there's really not a whole lot people can do about it.
competition also, like Uber, there's Lyft, there's ShareCard, and all this other stuff. And people always point to that. Well, look at the thing at New Year's Eve. They raised the rates and everything. I'm like, first off, maybe if you planned your way to do it, you wouldn't have those, going out drinking and everything else. And secondly, they already told you this thing happened. They put it on the website. They told you everything else. And it's they're gonna raise your rates and everything.
Oh yeah,
and
I forget what it's called, but someone, a group of people, I guess, are trying to come up with like a peer-to-peer version of Uber where there's no company. You just kind of post, "Hey, I'm available to give rides. I'm charging this much." People go and do that, and it's just all peer-to-peer.
That's what they used to do during the old days. I mean, Walter Williams brought this up history because he grew up in the 1940s, and he said that's actually what a lot of immigrants did. I mean, when a lot of immigrants first came to America, they didn't have much education. They barely had a middle school education. They could hardly speak English. They didn't have any college education, but they knew city like the back of their hand. So what did they do? They rented a car, posted it, offering rides, and that's how they made their money. Do that anymore. If you do that, the New York City officials are going to come up there and they're going to fine you, saying you're operating a driver's seat without a license and all that.
That sort of thing. It's that innovation.
Yeah.
And I really feel people who hate Uber and such. And I know they're like it's an unregulated. It's going to destroy us all. I'm like, do you know how much money I've saved going to Uber to go to other places and such? I have saved so much.
I went
they don't care.
and added
They
Family
don't
Guy
care.
to my list.
They've got
On
favors to pay back,
Netflix.
damn it.
God have
Yeah.
mercy on my soul.
On the Free Keen YouTube channel, that's a channel for some of the Free State Project guys and some of the things they've done. And they have a video up there of a hearing where they were talking about Uber, and this one guy who was with the taxi companies went up there talking about the time he tried to get an Uber ride and all the stuff that happened, and it was clear he didn't even have the first idea how Uber works.
Yeah.
Like, for example, he was talking about, standing around for 2 hours, the driver never showed up. They show you on GPS where the driver is.
They're actually, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny because I don't know if it happened or not, but there was actually an incident, I think it was in Uber was so effective that the taxi, at picking people up, that the taxi company is actually lobbying the local politicians in the UK that there should be a rule that says if Uber gets a call saying for a ride, they have to wait 5-10 minutes before they can actually go and pick them up.
That's in Chicago. They instituted that in Chicago. They have to wait 5-10 minutes after a call before they can go pick somebody up at the airport.
Yeah, because they want to do this type of stuff. It's this whole trying to control people and such.
Yeah.
And by the way, you know how much money I actually saved? Because it used to cost, I had to scratch some pennies up. Cost $20 to $30 to go to a cab or do anything like that. But when I use Uber, and I'm like, it's $13. I'm like, what? It's just $10. What? I'm like, seriously? It's cheaper.
And people also 20-some miles from the airport, and when we went on our honeymoon, my sister could pick us up, but we couldn't get a ride there, so we did Uber, and it ended up being $28.
Yeah, and you're looking at this how
to park there for the week, the parking fee would have been $35. So we didn't have to park. We got curbside service, and it was cheaper.
And the funny thing is that people also love to hate on Uber. When Uber every now and then when they raise their prices, and people say, "See, Uber's greedy. They're taking advantage of people." And I'm like, do you people have any idea how the price system works? There's a little thing called supply and demand.
Well, the idea is twofold, and this is always the case with so-called price gouging. One is it kind of asks you, hey, do you really need to do this that badly?
Yeah.
Or can you let some other people have a chance?
Yeah.
And it also says, hey, we could use more Uber drivers here on the road taking people around. If you're able to climb the snow or whatever, come out.
I mean,
that's
check this out. I did not know this. I just found this out now. Oh damn it! Just stupid autoplay video. In Chicago this last week, Uber, they did. Let me see here. They delivered puppies on Wednesday for a 15-minute cuddle huddle in preparation for Animal Planet's Puppy Bowl. Between
Wow.
11 a.m. and 2 p.m., open the Uber app and select the puppies option. For $30, a puppy squad and a coach will arrive for a fiercely adorable competition between Team Rough and Team Fluff. It was actually a whole thing to for puppy adoption.
And then PETA sues them for animal abuse.
Well,
And there's actually,
it was a joint effort with the Anti-Cruelty
Can I
Society.
just say that auto-playing video and audio needs to die in a fire?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a cure for that. Ad block.
Yeah.
Yes, but here's an interesting thing. You have like articles now saying Uber has forced taxi services to step up their game, which is a good thing. People seem to forget taxis had a monopoly. My hope one day is actually someone comes up with a better service. When you get a better service, you either get good or you get gone, which is
What I think is going to be
Uber
What-
is obviously good. You mentioned how corrupt cities are, but how much they try to ban it.
Yeah.
What I think is exciting for the future of this market is driverless cars, and I don't think it's the case that we're going to have our own driverless cars. We're just going to summon from Uber or whoever a driverless car. It'll come and pick us up, and they'll just be driving around, moving people around.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I like having conversations with the driver and such like that. Maybe it's gonna be option: driverless car, driver car. Something like that, because you never know how many interesting conversations I have with Uber drivers. A lot more interesting than the taxi people. I'll tell you that much.
The taxi people, like at least from what I've heard, they either do not want to talk to you, and if they do talk to you, they're creepy.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting story. Soon you can use Uber to hail a helicopter.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
I am for that.
And not to mention, people like to talk about, well, who's going to regulate the drivers? What if you hire a creep? The customers regulate the drivers because you can vote on the driver. If you can say, I really like this driver, he was friendly, he gave me a shorter drive, he didn't overcharge me, and they can put that. Same thing with vice versa. If you hate the driver, you can say, downgrade him and voice why you didn't like him. And from what Shane's told me, if you have less than 90% approval rating, you're fired.
Yeah, they do not give you much leeway. I think it's over 90%. It might be like if you drop down below 95 or 97 or something.
Which is, I mean, maybe a little more lenient. Like, say, if you drop, I think a good medium, like 80%, because you never know, because there be trolls out there. So
I've actually heard that many areas of Uber actually even have an app, so their drivers can judge the customer, so that if you're being like a troll, let's say if a guy is getting on Uber, but you later find out that he's just a shrill for the taxi company, and they're basically paying him to take Uber so he can complain about it. They can say, hey, see this guy? He's working with the taxi company. He's trolling all our drivers. Don't pick him up. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and Jacob, is here. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, fashionably late as usual.
All right. But you know what?
Hear your dulcet tone.
Yeah. In all honesty, I kind of like that idea about both sides judging each other, because to be fair, here's the thing: when people tell you the customer's always right, they're BSing you, because in my experience working at Walmart, it's 50-50.
Oh, and even working in landscaping, same thing.
I heard Kevin Costner on The Tonight Show one time say the customer isn't always right.
Yeah.
So.
Same thing. My
he
brother
even gets it.
Yeah, my brother who works in retail, say no. The customer is like they're assholes.
Yeah. Yeah, they either don't know what they want, they either are completely clueless as to where they are, or, and I forgot the term for this, or they're so determined to find what they're looking for that even when you tell them we don't have that here, but we can find you something similar, they say, no, I want this.
Yeah, I always try to be as nice and courteous as possible, and always, because I don't want to be that one asshole.
Yeah,
that's
actually,
my own goal.
Yeah, that's actually especially true for if you work at a realtor that sells, electronics, because you're always going to have the people saying, do you have the latest, PC computer, or they want like this model of Dell or whatever, and you tell them we don't have that, but we have a similar computer which does the job just as well, and it's actually a little cheaper. But they're like, no, I want this brand, I want this product, I want it now.
There's something called Amazon.com.
Yeah.
At that point.
I want it
Good now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, it's funny about Amazon.com because I was reading this old comic strip. It's called Ozzy Amelia. I think some of you guys have heard of it, and it was written in the '90s. You know, when the internet boom was getting in there. And there's one funny scene where they're making fun of all these new companies that are coming on them, and one of them just happens to be Amazon. Yeah, they're making fun of. I don't get how Amazon's gonna work. I don't trust it. And I even like how one person posted in the comics. Wow, it's funny how times have changed. 10 years ago, Amazon was a bankrupt, delivery service, and now it's one of the biggest online shopping networks out there.
And the best way to find good
games. Said that Wikipedia wasn't going to work, that it was going to be a failure, that it could ever be a going concern, and now look at it.
It's pretty funny because teachers love to hate on Wikipedia. They love to say Wikipedia is not reliable, but I've actually heard that, and this goes back to your wisdom of the crowd, that Wikipedia, well, I'm not saying it's 100% accurate. It's a lot more accurate than people think it is.
It's more accurate. I mean, they've done this every now and then over the years, and consistently it's been more accurate than the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah, and it's pretty funny because people say, but anyone can edit it. What if some guy,
Yeah, but they don't realize they got thousands of editors that do nothing but edit the articles
I was about to say this. Like if a troll gets on Wikipedia and he deletes everything and replaces it with the word penis, 5 seconds later, everything's going to be restored to normal, and there's going to be some corrections.
But there have
I mean, I remember there was actually
there's some among the editors, like the creative bias, like it was on my gun control video. If you look in the comments, there's a Wikipedia editor there, and he was talking about the part where, I forget which page it's on, but they're talking about the mass shootings in Australia, how there have been no mass shootings in Australia since the 1996 gun buyback or whatever, and of course there have been several, and there's actually another Wikipedia page that lists them, and there's like every time he tries to fix it, to put it in there, it's like there have been this many, and here's the page and everything. Someone else comes back in and either reverts it or puts it back in to say that there aren't any.
Yeah. Just,
those statistics are hard to come by as someone who's lived in Australia. They're kind of iffy at best.
Yeah.
All right. And you know what? It's been a fun little conversation with everybody, but I have a podcast to do, so I have to get everything else. So it's been fun, Shane, and all this good stuff. So hope we do this soon.
See you, Charles.
Bye, man. See you. And see you, Jacob. Peace. All you guys, you crazy cats and dogs or whatever. Oh wait, Travis left. So.
You're one crazy cat.
Don't let me in with that furry.
All right, peace.
Whoa, Travis left. When did he leave?
Here, what happened to Travis?
I don't know.
Well.
It's crazy. It just.
So, been having a lively discussion without me?
I'm just gonna say, who's one person we need to try to get on here, especially if we're gonna talk about feminism and social justice warriors. We need to try to see if we can get Teal Deer on here.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Hello, Teal Deer here. Yeah. I don't really know who that guy's real name is.
Hello, Teal Deer here.
I don't know that guy's real name. All I know is that I think he's mentioned that he's from Australia, but that's about it.
No, I think he said he's from
He
Britain.
doesn't sound like one. I would know because I've lived in both Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah. I do love that video, where he supposedly, posted that picture of his true self, and it's just a picture, it's just a video of a deer crashing into a bus with him dubbing over it, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna, okay, oh, you're not gonna debunk it? Okay, well, I'll find for you, and the deer goes there, and he's like, oh, no citation here, not here, nope, well, then you've been debunked. He's hilarious. I love his jokes,
He's almost as funny as I am.
Yeah, it's just hilarious,
His voice isn't as deep and resonant as yours, Jacob.
Yeah. And actually, funny thing, going back to Uber, because I was, out of boredom, I was watching the Harry Potter movies last night, and I was just writing down, ideas about, kind of sort of like a half parody, half serious, story idea. And one of them is about this kid who I call Hamilton Challenger, and he arrives at Hogwarts, and he's a wizard, but he really sucks at magic, and he's not really interested. He's more interested in, like, real science, and that's basically his whole gist, is that while all these students are learning all these spells, he's trying to do science, and he comes up with an idea to make a little extra cash where he's going to use his broomstick, and he's going to use it as a travel service, and the Ministry of Magic shuts him down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he tells us, but what else are we supposed to use? I mean, and in all honesty, the funny thing about Harry Potter is that they always love to talk about how superior magic is, but there's a lot of ideas that make it a little bit thinking, like, for instance, they still use owls. It's like, I mean, they'll be like, what's wrong with muggles are weird. What's so funny about computers? It's like, here's the thing. If I want to tell you guys something, you can hear it almost instantly. An owl, you have to wait till the owl gets there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, you have the whole thing about, the Wizarding War. There are so many things they could have done with the technology they have. They have time machines. They have the time turner. You can go back an hour at a time. So imagine.
Yeah, that's what always irritates me in any story with time travel.
Harry Potter,
no. Imagine showing up at a battle with about 100 time duplicates. And
Yeah, J.K. Rowling doesn't have a lot of foresight.
Like if you have 100 time duplicates, 99 of them are going to survive the battle.
Yeah.
So whoever's the last one might need to be a bit careful, but all the rest of them, they can do whatever they want, go through and slash.
Harry Potter's one of those things where I like the story, but the setting almost ruins, And it's very funny because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. It's the most overrated thing in the Wizarding world, Quidditch. For one thing, it's way too dependent on the golden snitch, and also, it's another thing. It's clearly established that there are rules, but has anyone ever noticed that nobody enforces them in Quidditch? I mean, if you
maybe the rules are flexible, like the game they played in Calvin and Hobbes, Calvin Ball. But they just make the rules up as they go along.
No. Quidditch is catch the shiny thing. Everything else is to distract the audience.
I actually thought of a funny idea for a parody where in the first movie where they use the bludger, which by the way that should have been a strike because last time I recall only the beaters are allowed to hold the bats and use the bludger, but they hit Oliver Wood and everyone's paying attention to the game. Meanwhile, there's this medic saying, "Oh my God, Wood's not moving! Someone help me here!" Okay, and Elisa Spinnet has the quaffle. Oh my God, he won't stop bleeding! Bleeding! Oh, Potter's almost got the snitch. He's almost got it. Will someone forget about the game and help me here? He's not breathing. It's like, look, I understand wizards are slightly stronger than non-magical folk, but can they not make the bludgers out of, like, I don't know, like rubber or something? Why does it have to be made out of solid iron? Yeah. I don't care how tough you are. Taking a bludger to the head is going to cause some pretty nasty injuries.
Remember,
David Goliath.
This is the same school whose idea of teaching you how to apply a hippogriff is to give you a 30-second lecture and then throw you on the back of one.
And what's another? Yeah, actually, I'm gonna do my own little thing about top 10 lists of features that Hogwarts has, and in all honesty, it shouldn't have. And what's another one that's actually gonna surprise a lot of people? The Room of Requirement and all that. And people say, why? It helped out Harry in order to. Yeah, but the Death Eaters used it in Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows to smuggle in powerful magical weapons in. What if someone wants to use that room for very bad intentions? What if some, depressed kid decides, I hate working at Hogwarts, I just wish I could blow it up, and then they stumble across the Room of Requirement, and because it saw them, it's loaded with guns and explosives, Another one is the dungeon. Look, I understand it was probably made.
Any kind of budget for Muggle weapons, it's like you got a political enemy. Okay, we'll send him an owl, and attached to this owl is the thing called a hand grenade. Boom. There you go.
Hang on, Mom's calling me.
All the Death Eaters, and they're gone. Or sarin gas, or something like that.
So, I've read the...
Yeah, Harry Potter's always struck me as kind of weird and all that. There's so many problems. What's another thing I really don't like about Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry? Is that every single class is biased towards magic. What if you get the few students who say, look, magic is cool and all, but I'm not really interested in magic. I want to go into like robotics or something. Well, tough luck. You gotta go to Hogwarts. You graduate. You really suck at magic or whatnot, and there's not a lot you can do. I mean, it's funny that they have. It's funny that they have those career things and all that because where are people gonna work? There's barely any independent businesses in the Wizarding world. Almost everyone
work for the Ministry.
Yeah, almost everyone in the Harry Potter world works for the Ministry of
Magic.
Magic.
Yeah, what is it? 1984.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
I wonder what kind of person thinks that's sustainable.
Yeah. J.K. Rowling, she does not.
I hate to do this, guys, but I got to get going here. I got to get my kids to bed, so.
Peace out, Jim.
Oh, they're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
We're dropping like flies. Soon everyone's gonna be gone, and it's just gonna be me here in the dark void, just rambling to myself.
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry.
I have a feeling that wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, don't worry. Shane, Jacob, and Evan are gone, but I'll still continue the podcast. And here I am, just talking to myself.
I think
That's the chaos. That's the chaos
So,
theory.
Everyone want to talk about The Watchmen?
Sure.
I read the comic recently.
Yeah.
Anyway, you think the ending makes sense?
I got my copy here somewhere.
Yeah, somewhat.
Like I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the comic version.
Yeah, I got it here somewhere.
Yeah, it's different in both versions. I'll spoil the movie because the movie is not as good as the comic.
You can spoil either. I'm not too fussed either way.
All right, we'll just say spoiler alert for Watchmen, and you can go ahead then.
Yeah.
Okay, but so basic plot for both versions: Ozymandias tries to basically blow up New York to get ready to bring about world peace. In the movie version, he uses Dr. Manhattan.
Is they put the superheroes in charge basically as cops, and they became corrupt. That's the setting.
Yeah. I was summing up the ending of the comic.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Would the Russians really want to help if they just blew up New York? Wouldn't they make?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
Well, the thing is, in the comic book, what he did was that he tried to trick the world into thinking there was an alien invasion so they would give up their conflict to potentially fight off the next enemy. In the movie, yeah, they just did it where he blows up a bunch of cities, and then apparently that's enough to move people, which in real life I think it would have the exact opposite effect. If you just randomly blow up buildings, all sides are going to blame each other, and then bada bing, bada boom, you've got World War III.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could still happen if there was something like the Tunguska event that happens like over a big city or something like that.
In all honesty, I still stand by the best way to end it, to prevent nuclear war from ever becoming popular is go back in time and give Nazi Germany just one atomic bomb, because when they use it, they will not have the resources to make more. They'll cause a lot of damage, but they'll lose the war in the long run. And because the bad guys use the weapon, the UN's gonna write, okay, from now on, nobody can use that weapon.
Yeah, it'll be discredited.
Yeah, that's the reason why people stopped using gas,
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, many nations had, chlorine gas arsenals left in there, but after, Germany, was, after the horrors of, these evil German experiments, on the gas got out, people were like, okay, by popular demand, we're going to discredit gas and not use it anymore. Completely ignore the fact
it's not a bad thing to discredit.
Anyway, because what was it like? Was it a Japanese subway the terrorists tried to use sarin gas in, and they had all these people in an enclosed subway, and it only killed like
Tokyo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because I've met some people who are on the defense ministry, and they kind of laugh at how chemical and biological weapons are dubbed WMDs, because in all honesty, there have been bioterrorist and chemical terrorist attacks, and they rarely succeed. As we pointed out, if you try to use a super virus, it's only going to smoke itself out, and chemicals can really only affect people in the vicinity, and even then, it's tricky because you don't know the right dose, you don't know if you have the right amount, and you don't know, and you might make some people sick or you might kill some people. It's just too random. If anything, nuclear bombs are the only thing you should worry about. Yeah.
So yeah. So back to Watchmen. I think it'd probably be on Rorschach's side. I'd rather tell the truth, and
yeah,
I mean, eventually they're gonna think nothing's happening.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Rorschach. The problem with that ending, and that's the only thing that bugs me, is that Ozymandias thinks, well, if they never find out, they won't. And I'm just thinking, Ozzy, people are going to find out. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but they're going to find out. And when they find out, they're going to be like, what the fuck? We got tricked, and then they're going to go back again. In all honesty, what I would rather do is I would cause so much death and destruction, and I'm going to be telling all these political leaders, what? I'm just giving you what you want. You want war? I'm giving you a war. And basically, you know, in my opinion, you know, call me cynical, I think that's the only thing that's really going to truly stop a war is you just got to cause so much death, violence, and destruction and kill enough, you know, politicians and people that eventually people are going to finally say, you know what, fuck this, we don't want it anymore. That's what ends
Well,
wars.
that's the lesson we learnt in the Entente side in the First World War, and that's why people who fought it from beginning to end tend to come from less violent countries these days. We had the violence beaten out of us.
Yeah, you know.
The Americans, I don't think, have quite learnt that lesson just yet.
Yeah, probably because we were only in the war for like 2 months. But yeah, you know, I think that's the reason why Europe has been civilized lately. Yeah. You know, I agree. I think that's the reason why Europe, for the most part, has been kind of civilized, you know, this past century, because they fought 2 world wars. You know, I mean, they saw, you know, both World War I and World War II, there was so much death and destruction that finally, that now, you know, many nations, that now, you know, even if they don't like each other, you know, a European government is very hesitant, you know, to declare military action on another one because they know what it might lead to. You know, the people of the nations, they don't want it anymore.
Well, that's kind of the thing.
Exactly.
About vaccines. Vaccines have prevented all these diseases for so long. People have forgotten about how horrible they are, and so they get all anti-vaxxer. Well, if you've gone all this time without living under an oppressive, warlike government, you forget what it's like, and you don't realize when your own country starts turning into that like ours is.
Oh, yeah. Yep, it's just...
I mean, when was it? Are you sure? When was it not?
Yeah, you know...
Like, we had
I think
Vietnam... Desert Storm.
Well, mostly, like for the first century, we had the War of 1812, Mexican War, Civil War, but really it wasn't until the Spanish-American War that we really started being, you know, perpetual war.
Assholes.
And the funny thing is that the incident with Cuba and all that, it could have easily been prevented. The Spanish government, you know, said they were willing to negotiate, you know, possibly even, you know, let go of Cuba because they were having, you know, some economic issues of their own. But nope, the U.S. government wanted a war, and they basically bribed newspapers to write false accusations, you know.
Yep.
Was this under Teddy Roosevelt?
Teddy Roosevelt, I don't think he was president yet.
No, that was earlier. That was what?
McKinley.
1890 something.
Yeah, it was. I think we were under McKinley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was the main. A boiler exploded and that took it down, but then they lied and said.
Yeah. They said it was a Spanish torpedo. They said the Spanish, you know, were mowing down, you know, innocent Cuban protesters with machine guns. And you know, and that's actually the reason why we won the Spanish Civil War. Because the funny thing is that Spain had slightly more advanced weapons than we did. But here's the thing: we went in ready to fight. You know, Spain was like, "Whoa! We don't want to fight. We don't want to fight." But we pretty much put them in a predicament. You know, because Spain genuinely did not want to fight. You know, they were in no condition to fight. You know. The funny irony is that the Spanish Civil War is that the Spanish-American War kind of saved them from the horrors of World War I, because that's partially one of the reasons why they didn't get involved in the alliance, you know, because they just took a humiliating defeat from America, and they're like, no, we're not gonna play this whole do we join the Central Powers and all that. Nope. Seriously, World War I could have been prevented. You know, people talk about how would you prevent World War I. I know the perfect way to prevent World War I. Go back in time and trick all the political leaders into revoking, you know, their political alliances and all that. You know.
So, note to self: never cross this guy.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Just get rid of the treaties, because that's what it was.
That's what happened. You know.
A minor skirmish between Austria and Serbia, and everyone else got drawn in by mutual defense treaties.
Yeah, if there had been no mutual defense treaties, World War I would have been nothing more than just like a year and a half, you know, border skirmish between Austria and Serbia, which happened all the time back in those days. The reason why World War I escalated the way it did, and there was actually an episode of Indiana Jones, The Young Adventures of Indiana Jones, which takes place in World War I, and it says World War I happened like this. You see, when the Austria is killed in Sarajevo, Austria declares war on Serbia. Germany, an ally of Austria, also declares war on Serbia. Russia, being an ally of Serbia, declares war on Germany. Germany responds by declaring war on Russia. France responds by declaring war on Germany. Germany moves through Belgium to get to France, which triggers Britain to get involved in the war. Britain joining the war encourages Canada and Australia to get involved in the war, and because the British are blockading And here's the thing, it's actually been shown that Britain was largely responsible for why America got into the war on the side of the alliance, because they would not let Germany trade with anyone.
Yeah.
You know, Germany in its early days did want to trade with the United States, but the British said, nope, we're not going to do that. And what happened was that the British, you know, told all these lies about Germany and said the Germans are killing people, they're gassing innocent babies, they're raping women, which they somewhat did, but not to the near level. And the result is that many Americans said, oh, that's terrible, we hate Germany. And Germany in response said, well, if you hate us, then we hate you.
Yep.
That's what happened.
Fuck Britain.
Oh,
Yep.
Well, it depends on who you ask and who you want to blame.
It got so bad that people with German last names were changing their last names to anglicize them. Like if you were von Brauns, you became the Browns or whatever.
Yeah. You want to know? Yeah, you want to know
something?
something?
And then invented time travel.
Yeah, you want to know something? You know how many big cities, you know, have like the Chinatown and the Koreatown? German immigrants used to do that. There used to be German towns where it was mostly German, but after, you know, both world wars, you know, most people, you know, there was a strong anti-German thing going on, and most people said, okay, let's forget about our German heritage, let's change our names, let's forget our language, let's just forget about it, because we do not want to be associated with Germany. And that's kind of what breaks my heart about World War II and World War I, is that why do we have to punish an entire race of people for something their government did, you know?
Yep.
I brought this up with my friend when I brought up Allied war crimes, you know, he was talking about how, the Nazis, you know, raped and pillaged all these people, and I'm like, yeah, but the Russians raped many German women and children, and the Allies firebombed towns that had nothing to do with the war effort. And his reply was, yeah, but they were crowds.
But that's what war is. It's punishing people for the actions of their government. That's what it is.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. There's a book called...
It would be different if, you know, the two kings actually got together in a boxing ring or whatever.
That's actually in the...
They're not going to do that. They're going to do other people.
That's actually the novel, you know, in the novel All Quiet on the Western Front. That's what they said, you know. I mean, they said, look, we know humans are naturally going to fight each other, but I got a better idea. How about instead of you know, sending all these young men from your country to fight for your side, how about we just get the politicians, they stripped under their underwear with sticks and just beat each other up. Whoever wins whoever wins the fight, his country's the victor. And
put it on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It reminds me of one of the essays an 11-year-old Rorschach wrote about how he was glad that they bombed Hiroshima, bombed the Japanese, that it would prevent war.
Yeah.
And you remember that part?
Yeah, and again, that's why I say Germany needs to use the war, because the reason why atomic bombs, you know, were not treated with proper respect, you know, was because they were used, but they were used on Japan, which wasn't really a civilized nation, and everyone was under the assumption, well, Japan only suffered so much damage because they were that backwater third world country. America and Russia are different. We've got these fortresses which will save us from nukes. We'll be safe, you know. Whereas I ain't willing to.
That's how the whole thing.
Then go watch Threads, and you'll see for yourselves.
Yep.
World War I was supposed to be the war to end all wars.
Yeah.
And they meant that literally. It was going to be the final war that finally got everything settled.
Yeah, you know. Yep, and the problem and the reason why World War II happened is because of World War I. You know, I mean, it's pretty funny because, you know, I'm anti-war, and people, you know, going back to World War II, they always pull the Hitler thing. They always say, so you're anti-war, so you're saying if Hitler were alive today, you wouldn't go to war with him? And I tell people over and over again, if World War II and a few other conflicts in between if World War I and a few conflicts in between didn't happen, there wouldn't have been a World War II.
Or if you want to be really controversial, say that if America didn't get involved in World War I, there would be no World War II.
Yeah, it was basically
I love pulling that.
the same war. It was the same war with an 18-year ceasefire is what it was.
Yeah, some people have jokingly, some people have actually jokingly nicknamed the World War I, World War II period the Second 40 Years' War, because the previous 40 years European war wasn't really a war, it was just a 40-year-long series of conflicts between the major European powers.
And you could say the same thing about, you know, starting with Korea and going up, you know, through Vietnam and up to the end of the Cold War, you know, and all those different places.
It's just, you know, it's pretty funny because, you know, going about special pleading, because people do that for their sides too and all that, you know, when it comes to the Cold War, whether they're U.S. supporters or Soviet supporters. And that's what I really hate, is that, you know, we hear all about the U.S., which I agree, the U.S. did some horrible stuff, but for some reason, Russia and China get a free pass for reasons, you know. I'm actually gonna make fun of that, and my political comic, which is gonna show Nikita Khrushchev, talking about the 1953 Iranian coup d'état. Yeah, coup d'état. And he's like, I am deeply ashamed of you, America. How could you be so imperialistic? How could you get involved in the independent affairs of a free democratic nation for your selfish intention? Then it says, Comrade Khrushchev, the Hungarians announced they don't want to be a part of the Soviet Union anymore. And he goes, why those backwater bourgeoisie? Send in the tanks after them! Which happened 3 years after the Iranian coup d'etat. The Soviet Union sent in troops to crush the Hungarian. And here's the thing. The Hungarian Revolution was much more violent than the Iranian one. I mean, all the CIA really did in Iran was that they painted all these lies and said, that the administration was evil and that the Shah had to be put back in power. Hungary, on the other hand, was an actual battle. It just... I don't get why people do that these days,
I don't know. But it sounds like we're...
No, it's even worse than...
So am I, so unless anyone's got any other topics before we close out.
So, would you say, would you pick a Nexus 7 or a Nexus 9?
For a tablet, I'm not too sure, although I did just order a Nexus 6P. I've been saving up for that forever.
Like, what would you recommend, like 7 or 9? For me.
I've had a 7 in the past. They're pretty good. I don't know about the 9s, though. I've heard that they've got quality control issues.
If you don't need a whole lot of power, I think the 7 is good.
Yeah. Don't get the Nexus. Get the Firebolt. That's the fastest broomstick out there.
I mean,
By the way, just a little last thing with Quidditch. That's another thing that's actually kind of sketchy is that there's no standard equipment. So basically, if an entire team is rich enough, they can just buy, like all these, fast, broomsticks that'll just completely out-dominate everyone, and they won't even have to try anymore. Can't there be, at least for Hogwarts, be a rule that says, look, the Seekers can use whatever brooms they want because they got to be fast, but the Chasers, the Beaters, they all have to use the Clean Sweep 5. It's just the rules,
And here's something else to understand about the Nexus 7 versus the Nexus 9. The Nexus 9 has a 4:3 screen instead of the 16:9. So if you're watching videos and most of your videos are 16:9, they're not actually going to be that much bigger on a Nexus 9 because it'll be more or less the same width. You're just getting more height with the 9.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I know what I'm getting.
Yeah. By the way, Shane. One thing I am a little worried about is I really hope that quote unquote rational wiki doesn't see your Trump 2016 and say, see, Shane Killian supports Donald Trump.
Trump loses in 2016.
Yeah, I hate Rational Wiki. Look, if they called themselves Liberal Wiki, that's fine, but they call themselves Rational Wiki. Last time I checked, rational means you look at both sides of the story and come up with the best evidence. You don't say, look at what these evil creatures
Exactly. Fiscal responsibility is stupid. No nation's ever suffered through that. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I lived through austerity. I know what that's like.
Yeah, Shane, they actually mention you on Rational Wiki, and it's just so stupid. They're like, yeah, Shane doesn't know what he's talking about. He mentioned gamer... well, I gotta go. My mom's yelling at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, see you guys.
We'll see ya. All right, so hopefully this last one will take care of the Trump Nugent thing, and we'll see how many people get the reference. So, Opus and Bill 2016, 2 spaces for America. We're signing off. Thanks everyone who joined in. Thanks all my patrons.
Okay.
We'll see ya.